Before this video gets underway, I wanted to give a very big thank you to anybody who has clicked on a video, who has watched a video, who has commented, who has liked, who has donated, who has done absolutely anything to help out this YouTube channel, because on October 6th, we reached 20,000 subscribers. And I know it's a day late, but yesterday was kind of the second day of the draft. We had a lot to talk about over there for different teams, so we kind of held off the formalities yesterday, but today it indeed is the thank you day, because it actually is incredible to see the growth. I posted about this on Twitter earlier, but it took us 8 years, almost 8 years, from February 2012 all the way to October 5th, 2019 to get our first 10,000 subscribers. But from October 5th, 2019 to October 6th, 2020, that's how long it took us to get 20,000 in total. A year and a day later, we doubled our whole YouTube output for subs and views, and that is absolutely incredible. Obviously, we would not have been able to do this without you, so I'm so grateful for everybody who has helped out, because what we did essentially was we took 8 years worth of subs and views and videos and content and reception, we copied it and we pasted it at the end, but instead of it taking 8 years, we took it and we shrunk it down so that it only took 1 year. And that is absolutely incredible to me. It's just getting me so pumped for what the future holds for this channel, what we have here on YouTube, the videos, the streams, all that stuff. I am so excited. But getting on to today's video, because it already has been 1 minute and 40 seconds long, let's talk about Wayne Simmonds, because we already spoke once on this channel in the past few, weeks? I want to say weeks, about Wayne Simmonds and his status as a pending UFA. It was already confirmed earlier that he will test the free agent market and he will be an available player to sign by any of the NHL teams that wish to do so. Last time we talked about Wayne Simmonds, we spoke about how the Toronto Maple Leafs were apparently interested in his services. That was met with a lot of criticism, but it was met with a lot of understandability as to why it actually is the case, or at least it seemed to be the case at the time. However, we're revisiting that topic over with the Toronto Maple Leafs, and we're also talking about another team too. We're talking about the Montreal Canadiens, because earlier on October 6th, and yeah, I know, October 6th, that was 2 days ago on day 1 of the draft. It feels like forever ago, I swear to goodness gracious, but Pierre LeBrun posted an article on The Athletic. I'll leave a link in the description to the article if you want to read it yourself down below in the description, but the tweet he posts promoting the article reads this: that it's a quick column on both the Leafs and the Habs having interest in Wayne Simmonds and why he would be a good fit for either club. He also tweeted again later that same day, noting how a source told him that even though the Montreal Canadiens traded for Josh Anderson, because that did happen earlier in that day, it was Domi for Anderson, or excuse me, it was Domi and a third for Anderson, the Habs still want Simmonds, even though they already got bigger with Josh Anderson. But before we get into that, let's go over the Toronto side here first. Because it is now October 7th, as I'm recording this the night before October 8th, we actually have ourselves a little bit of a different idea now compared to before when we made the previous video as to how the Leafs forward core could look like. Because the Leafs did not extend a qualifying offer to Evan Rodriguez, nor Jeremy Bracco, Freddie DeGoat, or Verono as well, but this opens up a little bit of space here on their forward core. Remember, they only have Rodriguez because he was acquired in the Kapanen trade. That Kapanen spot still technically is free and isn't really reserved, quote-unquote, for anybody in the system just yet. So, there is an opportunity for the Toronto Maple Leafs to sign Wayne Simmonds, a guy who is indeed a big body, 6'2", 185 pounds last season. He had himself 25 points in a total of 68 games played, split between the Devils and the Sabres. It wasn't really super amazing for Wayne Simmonds last year, and in fact, it hasn't really been all too amazing for him the most previous few years. He was a better player back in the mid-2010s, but regardless, he is still seen by many as a big, power forward-like player who can intimidate opponents and who can force your opponents to play a different kind of style. He's an intimidation factor, he's a guy out there who's a veteran, he's played in this league for a long time, but he's gonna cost some money. He might not be a lot of money, but money regardless. And you can say what you want about the overall mobility aspect of Wayne Simmonds and how quickly he moves along the ice. For how speedy the NHL is today, especially for how a team like Toronto is built on speed and skill, it definitely is interesting to understand the idea of adding a guy like Simmonds onto your roster and debate whether or not that actually would be a valuable asset. According to Pierre LeBrun, though, the Leafs feel like it would be, and they would be interested in actually acquiring Wayne Simmonds, the former 30-goal, 60-point guy that he used to be. However, we're also talking about the Habs here because the Montreal Canadiens are in a position where they, indeed, are in this conversation too, even after the Anderson trade. And we noted earlier about how the Montreal Canadiens' biggest problem now on their forward core, it's not center anymore. It's kind of funny how the times change. This Canadiens team, a team that 2 years ago everybody was debating, okay, who should play center, who can play center, who's able to do it, and who indeed would actually give us success because we don't have any centers. Well, we're 2 years past that. We have Kotkaniemi, we have Suzuki, we have Danault playing better as ever before. And now Max Domi is a guy who didn't want to play the wing even though he was a fourth-line center. He got shipped out for a winger. Now this team is in a position where they have their center core locked up, but with the rest of the forward core on the wings being a little bit unstable depending on who you ask, there certainly could be room for a guy like Simmonds to come in and balance out the sizing of this lineup. We've spoken a ton about Suzuki, we talked about Tatar, we talked about Gallagher. These guys aren't big. It's a well-known secret that the Montreal Canadiens forward core isn't really all too big. But a guy like Wayne Simmonds adds that size. Now, at the same time, the same dilemma with Toronto has to be presented here. The Canadiens are a team built mostly on puck possession, speed, and using their opportunities when they present themselves, striking when the iron is hot. Because this is a team that relies so much on its ability to control that a lot of these players have developed a style that allows them to really prosper in that way. And because Wayne Simmonds isn't really somebody who fits that, skill, hold on to the puck, make a deke, whatever kind of game, it would be interesting to see the brand new dynamic he could add to this Canadiens team if he is able to incorporate some of the things that made him successful in the past as a 30-goal, 60-point guy, rushing to the net with speed, holding onto the puck, using his big frame to shove guys off of him, playmaking, dirty goals, rebounds, stuff like that. Wayne Simmonds is a very specific skill set that the Montreal Canadiens, well, they probably could use if you ask me. I don't want to say that Simmonds is going to be the guy to do that, but I'm just saying that the idea of what Wayne Simmonds could be at his best certainly, to me, does sound like an attractive package. It's why they went out and got Josh Anderson, a goal scorer who is big, who can body guys off pucks, but who can still play a finesse skill style game when he wants to. A guy who, even though he did get only like 4 points this past season, I'm not even going to look, something like that. He still, indeed, has quite a skill set that the Montreal Canadiens want to capitalize on, because we spoke about it before. Marc Bergevin wanted size. He wanted goal-scoring wingers who are big to get incorporated into this team and help us out in the next few seasons. And Anderson, as a guy who, at the time of this recording, he hasn't signed a contract extension, but it's rumored that he's going to go for a long term. He's going to be the guy that Bergevin believes is going to get that done. So, who knows if a Wayne Simmonds coming to Montreal too could be in the workhouse, because that apparently is of interest as well. I know I saw a lot of Habs fans saying, I don't want Simmonds, give me Kovalchuk instead. Or, we have a lot more cap space that we can use for other guys too, should they want to come to Montreal. And obviously the same dilemma can be made for the Toronto Maple Leafs, because obviously both of these teams, big Canadian markets, their fans, their media, it's incredible to see how heavy they can be on their team and its performance. So, moves like this where you acquire certain players for a skill set that they have that was more dominant in the past but isn't as dominant now certainly is a risk, and you have to take a look at both the positives and the negatives, how this could actually impact your team, and what exactly you have to build around that. Because for the Canadiens, imagine adding Josh Anderson and Simmonds to your team in one offseason. It's a nice way to get bigger. But depending on how that actually reflects on the ice in terms of production, in terms of goals, in terms of actually being able to play more effectively compared to 2019-20, that remains to be seen. So if you're a Habs fan, talk to me in the comments what you think about Wayne Simmonds and how they're still interested in him even after the Anderson trade. And if you're a Leafs fan, talk to me in the comments if you still feel like a Wayne Simmonds is or isn't a necessity for your team going forward. Because all this stuff combined, it's kind of weird how it's still going on, and we have ourselves one more more day till the free agency window opens and we actually see where he goes for real. So talk to me in the comments for all that stuff and your overall feelings on the situation, but I will leave you with that. Thank you so much again for 20,000 subscribers. It means the world to me. I hope you enjoyed this video. That is 99. And bye.